Mindful Life Practice.
So you're gonna come onto your mat, and if you have some pillows nearby, that would be great. And you're gonna come down onto your mat, and you can have your pillow underneath yourself. You can even have your pillow underneath your knees. Just kind of bring your heart to lay down and drop into stillness and drop into your shape. As you arrive on your mat, take deep breaths in and out. Scanning your body and scanning your mind and just kind of seeing where everything's at. So I think all of you guys have done a restorative yoga practice with me. Or if not, maybe you've done a yin style practice with me. And so you know kind of the general gist of this class. We're going to stay in poses for a long duration of time. And we're going to support the muscles and support the bones and support the full body so that we can kind of totally relax and release and rest and restore. Some of you guys are participating with me in the 30-day yoga challenge. And we have already made it to day 10, which is crazy. And so we've been gradually kind of working through the different yamas and niyamas in the Yoga Sutras. I mentioned the first two. The first is ahimsa, which is non-violence, and the second is satya, which is truth or honesty. The third yama in the Yoga Sutras is satya. No, that's the second. The third is Asteya. If you're with me in my class this afternoon, we kind of started exploring it. Asteya is the concept of non-stealing. If you're resting on one cheek in your child's pose, maybe flip your head the opposite way so that you're like evenly stretching through the neck on both sides. And so there's different kind of interpretations around non-stealing. So many different ways we can begin to think about this concept. The very essence of it, it's like the first time we encounter letting go and kind of minimalism in the Yoga Sutras. And it also brings into play one way it can be interpreted is kind of right use of our energy and right use of our resources. And I think in deciding to take a restorative practice, you're really honoring your energy, right? You're not stealing from your energy. You're replenishing it. You're bringing it into balance. So I'll invite you maybe to bring that intention to mind in this practice. I am replenishing. I am restoring. I am mindful of my energy. Or your intention can be something totally different. It can just be like, I'm present or I am here. It doesn't really matter. We're going to stay in this child's pose for like 10 more rounds of breath. And after that 10th breath, we're going to come into a bit of mindful movement, just like we did last week when we started our restorative practice. So when you're ready, you're going to peel yourself up and then just bring your pillow to the side. We're going to come directly into some cat-cow flows, okay? So set yourself up like a table. And then as you inhale, you're going to tilt and lift your heart and lift your head. And then exhale, curl the spine, tuck the chin. This is your cat. So let's keep moving like this, breath in. And then breath out. Keep going, inhaling. And then exhaling. The point of this is just kind of like wiggling and kind of getting any movements out of your body. And if you want to kind of C-curve the spine, just stretching from side to side, that can also be nice. And then we're gonna move into a little bit of a shoulder opener. Actually, first we're gonna do a heart opener. We're gonna do a little pose. It's called melting heart. And for this pose, it might be nice to also have a pillow. We're not gonna hold it for too long. It's just like a little bit of a back bend. But you're going to kind of lay your heart and your chin down on this pillow. And hips are like stacking above your knees. You should be feeling like a nice stretch through the spine. If this feels like too much for your back, if you have any back problems or back pain, I'm gonna just offer you one more little pose. You could also come forward into Sphinx, just like this, okay? If that pose was too much for you. But if you're okay in the melting heart, we're gonna stay there for just a few rounds of breath. Every day in e-learning, we have our children do a daily reflection. Today for their daily reflection, they had to give thanks. And it was really nice to read some of the things that they wrote. Some of them said, you know, I thank my mom and dad for helping me with my schoolwork. Some of them said, thank my teachers for teaching me. And some of them wrote, well, one of them wrote, I thank my mom and dad for protecting me from coronavirus. I thought that was quite sweet. So one way we can look at Asteya is, you know, almost like repaying people for the gifts they have given us. And maybe you want to dedicate this practice to someone who has been generous and giving to you. Just take one more round of breath in the back bend. And then you're going to come all the way up. So like peeling the heart all the way up. Slide that pillow to the side. And then keeping your left palm where it is, you're going to take your right palm up towards the sky and then thread your right arm underneath your left and land onto your right shoulder and your right cheek. So this should be a nice deep stretch for your back body. I think the concept of Asteya, it just kind of prompts us to remember like all of these ways, even if they're tiny and little, that we take from others. Like I know I am the absolute worst at borrowing things and never giving them back. Let's take one more round of breath. And then we're gonna come all the way up through center and we're gonna stretch the opposite way. So your left hand is gonna peel all the way up. And then you're gonna thread your left arm all the way under and land onto your left cheek. So something I did maybe about a year ago, when I was getting really interested in, you know, enacting my spirituality instead of just kind of reading about it. And so I decided to do an activity where I walked around the house and I collected everything in the house that wasn't mine, and then compiled it in a bag to give back to people. There was so much stuff, you know, like plates in the cupboard, books on the shelf. And like literally that wouldn't be, you know, I didn't intentionally steal those things, but I kept them way longer than I had intended, or the amount that I had said I would. And when we really look at Asteya, it forces us to kind of to think about these things in our life. All the ways, little and big, that we might steal or take what's not ours. Take one more breath in this twist. And then we're going to come all the way up again. And we're going to move directly into a twist on the spine. So I'm going to give you a few options. The first is going to be to take a pose that's called twisted root. And for twisted root, you're going to lie all the way flat on the mat. You're going to cross your right thigh on top of your left. And then shift your hips over to the right and drop your knees over to the left. Okay, so the right knee is on top and then both knees are open to the left and your arms are open in cactus arms. I'm gonna move all my stuff. And then your gaze is in the opposite direction of the twisted knees. Now this is quite a deep twist, and if immediately it doesn't feel good, just unstack the knees and you can just put them neutral. You can also put a pillow in between the thighs and just go like this. So there's like lots of different ways that you can modify. And know that, you know, we're here to replenish ourselves and to restore. And so if you're moving into a stretch that is like too deep or too sudden for your back body, then just back off and honor that. So we're going to remain in this twist for probably about 3 more minutes. And while we're resting into that twist, I want to share with you guys a story. If you were in my class earlier today, you've already heard it. I apologize. When I came to teach this sutra, Asteya, I wasn't really sure how or what to teach about, and I remembered this story that my teacher Rolf tells. He said, "I'm just returned from teaching at a week-long yoga retreat on a remote beach in Mexico." It was the most powerful experience of that sort that I had ever had. I was either practicing yoga or teaching yoga, meditating, chanting, or fasting for 7 straight days. And the closing ceremony was deeply moving, as the 65 participants shared their personal stories of healing and transformation. The next morning, I borrowed a pair of scissors from the hotel staff, and I began to remove the inspirational quotes we posted on the walls of the studio. As I used the scissors, I realized that they would be helpful on the next retreat, which was only 3 weeks away and at the same facility. So I stored the scissors in my bag with the quotes. Let's just take one more round of breath on this side in our twisted root. And then we're going to slowly make our way up and uncross the legs. Just kind of let the spine realign and then cross the opposite way. So the left thigh is going to cross over the right now. You're going to slide your hips to the left and then drop both knees over to the right. And if it helps you to uncross the legs and just stack them or put a pillow between, go ahead, sending the gaze in the opposite direction. Just kind of dropping into stillness. Finding your shape. So as I went to check out, the manager of this hotel asked me about the scissors. We were in the jungle, a few miles from town. And scissors apparently do not grow on trees down there. So I had the good fortune of opening my suitcase in front of this loving woman to retrieve her scissors. And all this happened in the midst of writing about Asteya. Be careful what you pray for. So my attempted theft of this woman's scissors, it gave me pause to think. And it certainly brought home to me the difference between doing a lot of spiritual practice and truly standing in my spirituality. In Alcoholics Anonymous text, it says that either God is or he is not. And each theft, each time we forget to return something we've borrowed, each moment we give in to the impulse to covet or to be jealous, we're saying, my God is not. To practice Asteya, we just have to abandon ourselves and just trust that the universe will take care of us. We have to be willing to give up what we have for one true thing.
So I think the most important thing about the Yoga Sutras is like, it's kind of embodied pretty well in my teacher Rolf's writing, right? He's like one of the most famous yoga teachers in the States, and he isn't able to perfectly practice like all of these elements of yoga. But the whole point is not being perfect, right? We're human. The point is like exploring these concepts and just kind of using them to reflect on the ways that we function in our life. I know for myself, when I truly started practicing Asteya, or trying to, it was like a way that I started to feel a lot better about myself. So you think that you're serving others by making these commitments, but really you're just serving, well, you are serving others, but you're also serving yourself. Right? You start to feel good about yourself and don't have these niggling things like the books on the shelf that I'm holding on to, and why am I holding on to these when I could just give them back? Let's take one more round of breath. And then just slowly come all the way back up to center, and you're going to uncross your legs. And then you can just take your knees and kind of rock them from side to side. So we're going to do a little hip opener. We're just going to take a simple thread the needle. So you're going to leave your left foot, take your right foot and cross the ankle on the thigh. And then you might stay here or press your right palm into your right thigh. Or lifting your leg up, interlacing the palms on the back of the left thigh or the front of the left shin. So modern yoga in the Western world, it's kind of become very focused on asanas, which are like the yoga poses. And what often gets forgotten is that there's like this whole ancient text that it's all built upon, and asanas is just one of many things. And so that's kind of one of the reasons why in this 30-day yoga challenge, I'm kind of trying to give a little bit of an overview into a bit of a deeper understanding of yoga than just skimming the surface. think it's wonderful that yoga is reaching so many people. But a lot of its history and that's a lot of its wisdom as a result is becoming lost. So maybe as we rest into this shape, you can just see if you can kind of think of examples or defining of ways that you can start practicing Asteya. I know I grew up in the home of a hoarder. My dad was a hoarder. And he just kind of had trouble letting go of things that, you know, he felt served some kind of purpose in his life. It meant that our house was just kind of like chaotically filled up with stuff, which made the living situation kind of stressful. And throughout my adulthood, I had to kind of unlearn this hoarding tendency. So trying to let go of all these things I was holding on to, that might be one way. Maybe you have a tendency to take from yourself. Taking away your happiness, taking away your confidence. Maybe it's the tendency that I had, which is to leave things I borrowed on the shelf. I invite you to just kind of explore and think about and maybe make an intention or commitment to yourself around this yama. Let's hold on to this side for one more breath. And then we're just going to slowly let go. And then prepare to stretch into the opposite side. So crossing the opposite ankle, flexing. And then moving into your shape. So I'm moving. I'm doing a lot of yoga during the day, obviously. Every day I'm teaching. But I'm also sitting for like 8, 9, 10, way more hours of the day. When I'm not doing yoga, I'm sitting. I don't know about you guys. And so even though I'm stretching my hips, I still feel so much tightness in them. Like we don't realize the daily ways that we move our hips and we move our bodies, I think, until we've lost them. And so if you're feeling tight or if you're feeling like stiffness in your hips, Know that you are not the only one. I'm feeling it too. The only way for us to move through this kind of tightness and this kind of stiffness is to kind of work with it, not to back off from it. Breathe into the places of restriction. Breathe into the places where we feel tight. We're going to be here for about 3 more minutes. So one of the things that I have trouble letting go of I can feel and experience things very personally, and I kind of hold on to and I cling to sort of sadness and resentment. I know that at the end of the day, like, it's only harming me, right? I need to find a way to kind of let go of these emotions that I'm holding on to, because like, if someone has hurt me, I can't control the anger they have towards me. I can't control whatever they're feeling. And so when I'm taking that on, it's not mine, it's theirs, right? It's their baggage, it's their way that they're seeing the world that has made them react to me in a certain way. And then when I feel sadness about that and I cling to that, it's not serving me, it doesn't belong to me, and the only thing I can really control is the way that I feel towards them. I had a long session with my life coach yesterday, who's here in this class, kind of all about this, all about someone who hurt me recently, and the pain and the suffering I was feeling about it. And I finally came to realize that none of that stuff is mine. I don't need to hold on to it. It doesn't belong to me. And so I came across this really nice poem. Well, it just popped into my mind. It's by Rupi Kaur. She said, wish pure love and soft peace upon those who have been unkind to you, and keep moving forward. This will free you both. Let's take one more round of breath. And then we're just going to release that. We held that for a long time, didn't we? You're going to uncross. And then just rock your knees from side to side. And so the dessert, or like the icing on the cake at the end of our practice, it's going to be our legs up the wall, which is Vipariti Karani. We did this last week, so you guys know. I love this pose. So you can put your cushion against the wall. You can also do this just with your legs up like this. That's fine. But if you want to snuggle your hip onto your pillows, I have a couple of pillows, so I'm going to lay mine out. And then just kind of send your legs up the wall. So your heels are supported and your palms can be on your navel. And so one way I worked on kind of getting rid of this sadness I was feeling and this pain was kind of realized yesterday, there's nothing I can do. Nothing I can do to change this fallout and this pain that this person has towards me. So all I can do is just send them love and light. Just wish them well, just support them. Just hope for their success, and in doing this, this will free us both. I'm no longer taking on their reactions as my own, their feelings as my own. Cat is waking up and meowing. I don't know if you guys can hear that. She likes to steal the show. So we're going to stay in this shape for just a few minutes more. There's a ton of benefits of this pose. One in particular is that it reverses our blood flow from our feet back up to our head and our heart. It can really boost your mood if you're feeling low. I've also heard it said that it can kind of help release tension in your back because the blood flow goes back to your back muscles. Let's stay here in our inversion for just about 5 more rounds of breath. And then you can choose, really, if you want to stay up in your legs up the wall, go ahead. If you want to come into a traditional Shavasana, a seated meditation, you pick. Sit a little closer. So we're going to practice just a heart meditation. And if you want, you can place your hands at your heart center or over your heart. Or you can just focus your attention on your heart. Just bringing your attention to your still body and gathering awareness behind your breath. As you turn up the volume of openness and acceptance, you allow yourself to feel a sense of release. Sense of wholeness, or maybe a sense of peace. Just drop into your energetic and physical heart space in the chest. From the heart, what quality would you like to embody? Maybe it's kindness or compassion, forgiveness, willingness to love more openly and fully. I know for me, the quality that I want to embody right now is it all comes back to that poem. Pure love and soft peace to those who have been unkind to me. This will free us both. Whatever your quality is, as you embody it, just let it saturate your being. Be present to yourself and for yourself just as you are. Knowing that'll bring you back when the time is up. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arrive. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly. Blackbird fly into the light of a dark black night. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to arrive. You were only waiting for this moment to arrive. You were only waiting, moment to arrive. Just give your fingers and your toes a little wiggle. We're going to make our way all the way up to a seated meditation. Our palms at our heart center, a length through the spine and a softness through the shoulders. We'll close with the intention that our yoga practice serves and benefits all beings everywhere. That all beings are safe and are happy and are healthy and free. If you want to join me with a Om sound, we're going to inhale and then exhale, and then inhale through to make an Om. Taking a breath in, breath out, breath in. Thank you guys so much for sharing this space and the practice. Om Shanti Shanti Peace.
The Mindful Life Practice.